Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on where you're joining us from. Yeah, the digital age that we are in, you can't just say good morning and assume everybody's in the morning.
True,
So people are
true.
joining
You're
from
right.
different time zones. Yeah, I'm actually very excited and privileged to host tonight's meeting. Yeah, the Innovate Pharmacy series. And I actually personally feel these conversations are very important because you're in a time where everybody can easily complain, can easily raise and poke holes in the system, and very few people are preferring solutions or working on solutions that can actually transform or change the things we complain about. So I actually want to commend from the Ep2 for this opportunity, for this platform, for this series of
Thank you.
conversations. Yeah, and we believe that with time, yeah, some of these conversations will not just stay on Zoom, but they will be practicable and they will actually be implemented. Yeah, so tonight's meeting is actually very significant and important. I'll leave Ms. Olude to do much of the talking about tonight's meeting very soon. But I actually feel we should have an idea of what we are going to be talking about. I was reading something today and it said insights are better than ideas. Initially, when you see things like that, you want to debate insights, ideas. Yeah, what's the difference between insights and ideas? But thinking about it, you feel like, yeah, sometimes there could be a difference. Insight may be based on data, observation. I've seen this, I've observed this, this is what the data says. But then sometimes ideas will just come as flashes of inspiration. Sometimes they are not even based on anything. You just feel like, oh, can we do this? Can we do this? But then sometimes when ideas are based on data or are based on certain things that are seen, or when there's a proper system of ideation, insights will come about insights. And I think insights will actually go a long way than just having ideas or thinking of things that thinking about it. So quickly, I hand over to Ms. Olude to introduce or tell us what today's session will be all about. Ms. Olude, can we have you please?
Okay, good evening, everybody. I really want to thank Francis Tosi for giving this platform, and thank you, Mamu, for the introduction. My name is Olufunto Olude. I'm a pharmacist, well, obviously, but I am also the convener of the Meeting Point NG, which is a platform for young pharmacists where we inspire, motivate, and build them in the areas of their career and their plans for life. So we have been given an opportunity tonight to use this platform to engage other young pharmacists as well as those who have been on the Meeting Point platform. We have a networking event called the Meetup, and we just had the Meetup 5.0. The theme for that meetup is accelerate. Because of the COVID scenario and all of that, we haven't been able to have the physical meetup. But usually we have an online thing where we do a book review, we have different webinars, and then we all learn and share together, and then we have a challenge. So we were able to put up a challenge for this particular set, and what we did was to put up a challenge in preparing the healthcare system for the new normal. What should it be? What should it be now? And what should we do? Exactly how do we prepare ourselves for the new health system in this new normal? So this was a challenge that we put to the groups that we had within the meetup event, you get. So they came up with a video, they came up with proposals and slides, which we have reviewed. So tonight is for us to learn from an expert to help us in terms of conceptualizing your ideas and being able to put up a proposal and being able to pitch your idea that will arouse interest even from investors or anybody who would really like to see and partner with you. We realized that there were a few gaps in this challenge, and we decided with pharmacist Tosin, who was one of the judges, as well as pharmacist Abimbola Adebakin, and we had two other judges, one a vet doctor, Dr. Tolu Kolawole, and a psychologist who is also a public health expert, Mrs. Noye Madu. the two of them are not here, but we decided to have this with the pharmacists since it's easy to get on this platform. So after judging and looking, we realized there were a few gaps, and we decided, let us use this platform to be able to teach even other young pharmacists exactly how do you conceptualize your ideas, solutions that you have to problems, because we realized there were gaps. I believe no other person than pharmacist Abimbola Adebakin, of course, will be able to do justice to this. Number one, she has a heart for young pharmacists. Number two, she has, of course, done all sorts of proposals, and being the lead consultant for Tony Lumelu at the time, the COO, the Chief Operating Officer there, we decided to lean on her experience, her knowledge, and her expertise to help us to be able to see, okay, how do we learn and get this together? So that is why we're here tonight. And of course, at the end of it, we are also going to announce the winner of the challenge. For those who probably would have followed on Instagram, we had about 6 groups, though we had about 5 videos on, but the judges had the slides and the documents to read, and they went through it because we looked at practicality, content, presentation, creativity, and innovation. So I think that's it in a nutshell. So this is for all of us to learn, not only for those who were part of the meetup, but for every single person to learn. And it has been open to all young pharmacists tonight because, of course, this platform is just fantastic because it's about innovating pharmacy. So it's time for us to all learn together. If we have, because many of us see that there are problems, but how do we put it together that it will really arouse interest and get the buy-in of those who are very critical to it being implemented? So that's why we have Mrs. Abimbola Adebakin with us tonight. I think I have explained this in a nutshell, and I believe she is ready. I want to thank you very much for being here. This was a very impromptu meeting. But of course, Nancy Tosi is laughing because it was just like, a light bulb just came up and we just decided, let's do this. And sometimes when you do things like this, you really don't know how far it can go. But I really want to thank Mrs. Abimbola for agreeing to be here. She's my big sister, so obviously she had no choice. So I'm going to leave the floor open to her. Please, I want us all to listen intently. And those who are from the Meeting Point NG, I believe some of you are here because the winner of the challenge is going to be announced at the end of this training. So she's going to have some minutes to explain to us what is required, how you start ideation and all of that to be able to get to the point where at least you can get the buy-in. So I'll leave the floor open to Mrs. Abimbola Adebakin. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, pharmacist. Grateful. Thank you, Tosin, for having me as well. Thank you, Mamora. And I want to congratulate everyone who's participated in the program up until this time. It's one thing to start something and then it's another to complete it. And for everyone who's just done Mugbomuya, that says, okay, they're discussing something, let me join in. It's a good use of your time. You could have been somewhere hanging around on social media, taking time doing stuff that may not add value, but you're here today. So this is a bit impromptu, so I couldn't prepare my slides for this session, but I would dug into a message that I had received at the time. There was a time myself and my teammates then, we were able to join the Seedstars program to pitch mymedicines.com. And what we do in My Medicines is really find access to medication, and then we connect the dots. We're able to deliver to people at home, and our supply side is a large network of pharmacies. And that was my first time actually pitching in a formal environment. I had prior to then been recipient of people pitching, and so I think I'm going to bring perspective from both sides of being on one side receiving those who are pitching, and also on the other side of being someone who pitched. And we came out first runner up. We didn't win the first prize, but we came second. So instead of saying we came second, we keep saying we came first runner up, so that it sounds juicier. Anyway, for whatever, it was a nice exercise, and we enjoyed it. I particularly enjoyed it. We've gone on to pitch in other fora, and one of the things that training gave me was I was able to pitch to investors, and I raised millions of naira for my business that has now, is now scaling. And so what we're saying is a set of skills that you can use in real life to do that which you want to do. We now have investors who have invested in this company, and even right now, there's a bank considering, to invest with us. They've almost completed their due diligence, and it's still these skills of pitching that we've used to get there, and of course the grace of God. All right. So let me just quickly share my screen and use that to guide this discussion. Remember, I said I took it from the Seedstars guideline. So I've tried to amend here and there. But let's hope that we're still able to get some points. So I brought one of the slides behind to the front, where after this, where you actually know that you have limited time. You must give an opportunity for people to question you, and you have limited slides to use as well. What you want is that they should vote and you must win. So there's certain criteria that people typically look out for. They want to know whether you have identified a pain point. Some of your slides, when I looked at them, you identified general pains, but aim to describe one pain point or a finite pain point. And many times you can use numbers to define it. You can use a market size to define it. It's really important to start with the problem. Problem to meet this problem. In fact, this is part A of the problem that we want to meet, but this is our solution to this problem. That way, you contain yourself in with focus. I saw one of the slides that had almost 3, 4 things you wanted to do. It's nice to have ideas, but start with one and position that one as your solution and quantify the problem that you are solving. And then make sure it's something that grow. So maybe the other 2, 3 things can then come out after you have started the base thing. But it can grow. For example, we may be addressing the telemedicine needs of 1,000 people per month. But what we're going to do is we'll be able to scale, and we can then begin to do 10,000 per month, because our ultimate goal is to have 50,000 per month. That shows that there is potential for growth, but that you are starting with XYZ, and therefore you understand the unit economics. But I'll talk a bit more about it. And you can then talk about the fact that you've tested it, you've piloted it, or you've even done a minimum viable product. You already have a center, you already have 2 people who are manning the phone. You're doing a basic element of telemedicine. So what you need from the people that you're speaking to is now funding to take it higher, or funding to reach a bigger market, or funding to buy equipment, or funding to do marketing, or funding to hire staff. Whatever it is, there is a need that you want to address. Therefore, at the end of the day, when you have showed that you have traction, you then want to ask and say, this is what we need right now. So just as a summary again, you must give them the problem. But one thing I have learned is that the problem doesn't show to many people, so you start with a hook. And I'll give you an example shortly. So the hook precedes the problem. But and that's usually when you're standing in front of people to convey your pitch. But if you are writing it, well, you might start with a page and then write the problem. But first of all, start with the problem. Then you come out with a solution. And some of you that had done your videos, maybe your videos should have been tailored to show a solution, not just to reiterate the problem again. Let it show what the solution is, and you go straight to it, because you've got very few seconds to catch my attention. If you don't catch the attention of the person to. You might continue talking and talking, and they're just looking at you, trying to make sure that you finish. And when you have showed the solution, if you have a demo, you have slides, you have great pictures to show, then you now tell them about the opportunity, meaning the the fact that you have, you know, some application, some app that you've developed that will help you to sort this thing out. You've described what the solution should be, but your own advantage, that's your advantage, that's your unique selling point. Why you? That is when you show the opportunity. And you then go on to say, in fact, we started to do it. We currently attend to 30 people right now. They call us at their, I mean, we're at their beck call. They have told us, 90% of have told us they are satisfied. That is what they mean by traction, meaning you have grown something. It isn't particularly new. But don't never mind if it is completely new. You might say, in terms of traction, we've actually done a survey, administered to 300 people. Show some traction. Show something that ideas that have no traction, going out there saying, I have something. You don't have anything if you have not started. In fact, I listened to I read the tweet by someone called Osarity, Victor Osarity on Twitter. He said, please, my advice to everybody seeking my advice is go and start. When you have started, then you come and seek my advice. So it was hilarious, but the point is go and start. Have traction somewhere. Say that you have 5 doctors. They are ready to be your telemedicine providers. Say that you have signed on 10 pharmacies. They are ready to provide the medication. Say that there are hospitals that are, that are interested in. Do something to show traction. And then how it will all link up together in your model. Meaning, I'm going to hire, these ones I'm going to outsource. For example, in our model, we don't do the logistics. So we focus mainly on the fulfillment through our call center. We outsource the logistics. So that's the model we have. Another person's model might be we do everything in-house. We do the fulfillment, we do the logistics, we do the software. In fact, we hire tech guys internally so that we have better control. So one model or the other must have an advantage over another, and you emphasize that. And then you now talk about your team. Best put their pictures, eye-catching. Sometimes you put a list and it just doesn't get there. You can put the pictures, a nice professional picture. I always advise pharmacists as you come out of school, please invest 1,000, 5,000, 1,000. Get a professional picture done for you. What is all this that you just throw up you in some lab coat, very dull? They're competing with peers that have invested in themselves and in their image. So please go out now and get a professional picture done for you. If it's not being done in your organization, get it by yourself. It's your investment, and make sure it stands out in all of your proposals. And what is the future going to be like? Just give them a quick timeline. Oh, in the next 6 months, we have invested in our software. By the next 12 months, we would have signed on 50 families. By 10 clinics will be there, and so therefore we're asking you for 5. That should be the closure. You're asking for the millions, or you're asking for them to connect you with a strategic partner, or you're asking for them to sit on your board, or you're asking for them to recommend whatever they ask. Don't be shy. End that pitch with an ask, and then invest in one line or two saying something like, I think I'm your best candidate and I look forward to your questions. That kind of closes the whole pitch. Now, when you are now simply writing a proposal, there are elements here that you must incorporate in your 8-9 page proposal. Don't make it too long. Nobody is going to read long proposal. Maybe I should show your faces when I'm saying that. I'll repeat myself. Don't make it too long. Nobody is going to long proposals. As much as possible, use pictures, use videos, reduce the words, and let this message go fast. Avoid a lot of text. The text is too much in many proposals. Who is going to read it? Particularly if you're sending 10, 15, 20 proposals. Who? So please guide yourself and minimize such things. So the hook you can start with. I know almost all of you have had failure in so and so. So they can easily relate. I remember my hook then was almost all of you have gone to one place or the other looking for medication and you could not find. That's the reality, not so. So you brought the message to them and they can relate to it. Or you can share your vision and say, good afternoon, good evening. I intend to be the largest dealer in anti-diabetic medication across Nigeria. You, and then you now go on to your pitch. You must hook with a quick statement. Someone like this solutions provider, what she started her hook with was to talk about rape. And many ladies that get raped do not report the issue. But beyond reporting to catch the offender, what they need is medication that they cannot go over the counter to get. But Keisha provides medication for rape victims in a discreet manner. Immediately, it's relatable. Then you can go on to start talking about the problem that actually 1 million ladies face every month. And then you continue, you set the hook, you set the problem, you now talk about the solution. So please, the problem, what problem are you solving? Why is it an important problem to solve? Don't assume they know it. Just let them know that look, beyond the fact that people need to see their doctor, it is that 70% of the cases that actually go to the clinic are minor cases. Therefore, with telemedicine, I'm able to cut down the time. I'm able to cut down the utilization of space in the clinic. You understand? You must show the gravity of the problem because not everybody that understands why all this telemedicine, fire and everything that's going. Who feels the pain? You might say it is mothers. Mothers tend to feel the pain because they are please relate it to what those who are in the audience can, can look at and tell a story, please. Sometimes sometimes I'm in an audience and I'm able to draw from a personal story of how my a family member was looking for colostomy bags and we just could not find. But I had assured him that colostomy bag, don't worry, let's go to the top upscale pharmacies. So we drove from Surulere all the way to VI, Lekki, we came back, Ikoyi, we came back. We couldn't find it. Nobody was talking to colostomy bags until someone eventually suggested go to the back of loose. You will find a mushi. Mushi, that was where we found. So it wasn't as if colostomy bags were not existing, but we couldn't get access to it. That's why I say my medicine solves an access to medication problem. Now, I would relay my personal anger and embarrassment with not getting it in the mainstream pharmacies to why mymedicines.com became a solution. So generate that empathy and emotions from your people and where possible, keep it visual. Please don't make it complicated. Don't start telling them about, of the 352,000 people that are existing in Ajegunle, you see, we found out that 60% of them, in fact, on Sundays, come on, calm down, calm down. You can give them slides of complex, but keep your words simple and don't overload it with numbers. So see this, clear and simple. Corporate e-learning is disengaging. Everybody can relate to it. There are so many of us that have signed up for one course or the other online. 90% of people don't finish it. So it's easy to relate with that problem. Then buttress it to say research shows, and so therefore this is the solution to that. I want to create more engaging content. So those are the kind of things that you look for. So that you understood the problem, please then go on to your solution and explain your solution in one sentence. I solve the problem of access for most people that are making decisions by bridging the gap between pharmacies and people at home. Simple sentence. So craft your solution into one sentence. Please, I know your solution looks very nice and attractive to you. I know. I understand your pain. I absolutely do. But the person you are speaking to wants one sentence. How does your solution fix that problem? And what are the key features? Show some images that might help you. Because sometimes sentence might be unwieldy. So show some, but don't get too technical. Unless you are actually pitching to a technical audience, avoid it being technical. So, on-demand ride services. Ride-sharing platform on two-wheelers that provide low-cost, convenient, secure, and so on. So that's the solution that they are providing. But see already, we've seen women is looking friendly. We've seen an app, so we know you're going to use technology, and we've seen something that looks. You've conveyed the message. You then move on. Or one, two, cargo place to connect with trucks and businesses for individual, blah, blah, blah. So you use me to show order from us. We will track, you will track, and you pay cargo. I put together on this. You must use such images. Simple, very simple. So you don't be a graphic artist. Just go on Google and type order, put image. So you will see all sorts of things. Just copy and paste. Copy, at least you can see these ones can be copied and pasted here, and therefore you're not too complex about things. Thing is now, what is the opportunity? Meaning, what is your unique selling point that will meet a, a certain market? Now, this is the total addressable market, and this is the one that will actually buy from you, the specific one that will buy from you. Many of us are saying, oh, we have 100 million women in Nigeria. It's just 2,000 women that will purchase from you. So explain to the pitch people that 2,000 is your addressable, is your real market. I've forgotten what the term SOM means. I'll look for it before we finish and I'll share with you. So that is your market. And that because I have inroads to women's societies, I want to get to at least 500 of them, and I will use that to then snowball to the remaining target market. That's it. So what sources and assumptions did you use to arrive there? And top-down or bottom-up assumptions. So you've said the whole of Nigeria has 100 million people, but you are focusing on cities. So in cities, we have about 30 million. Of those who are in cities, about 10 million of them are making buying decisions, those age 35 to 45. So that is, you whittle to that manageable number, and out of the 10 million, we focus on those who have buying power because they're earning above 50,000 naira per month, and that's my target market. Not target market. Then I demonstrate that there is a worthy market to address. Please don't just be verbose and Nigeria is the largest population of blacks in Africa. Hello. So it doesn't translate to business. It's just a geographical or historical point. We like it and we put it down. But how does it translate to an opportunity is what you want to do. So this is another example of market size. Before we end, I'll show you our own pitch that we used here. God help me with time. So total maternal and baby health services market, 180 million. But their own market potential, 85%, because they have mobile phone penetration. So now target market is just in 7 countries. So you whittle down the numbers right to something manageable. And that's how you move from a $6 billion business to 144 humble number you can address. Are we together on this? Is this clear? Okay. All right. I'm going to try and move quickly. This is another example. 600,000 restaurants across Asia that are on TripAdvisor, and you want to partner with TripAdvisor. Now, say actually, the restaurants in these areas in Asia are half, but the ones in Thailand are 10,000. Can you see how you come down to a reasonable, humble number? Then you can now talk about the market size, and of it, I'm looking for 1%. That's how realistic we should be in our pitch, and that's how detailed you can be in showing and convincing them that okay, 1% is doable. Let us back this man. If it's 1%, he can still get 10,000. Okay, then we go for it. And that's what you're not yet dreaming. I mean, you're not still dreaming. Yes, it's a huge market, but it starts with a dream. But they want you to translate your dream into actionable points, and that's what they're looking for. And then by the time you are pitching, please make sure you have had some traction. Remember, I talked about traction earlier. Traction can be anything you want it to be, but don't make it BS. Make sure it's something that you have achieved. Make sure there are key metrics. Maybe number of users, maybe number of business, maybe interest level, maybe respond to your survey, maybe you've already done. Maybe you've done the first prototype of the application, the app, or maybe you have even got a license, or you have spoken to PCN, or something. You've done something. And what's your monthly revenue? Most people that are going to invest want to see that you've already started earning revenue. If you haven't earned revenue, then you're pitching to the wrong set of people. You might want to pitch to those who are open to those who are at zero, meaning they're still at the ideation stage. But even with ideation, you have a better standing when you can show that I've moved beyond just thinking it, I have actually begun to company, or I have opened a YouTube channel and I have started talking to people. So it is from my audience on YouTube that I'm going to get those who subscribe. Something. And what are your growth rates? Well, when I started YouTube, only 5 people that used to like my videos. Now 15 people are liking it. So I'm looking at double that number month on month. That's 50% or 100% growth. See, it's a percentage you use in this one. Because this one, you can't be talking 15. You want to be talking about 100% growth month on month. 100% growth from 5 to 10, 10 to 15. Isn't that 100% growth month on month? So, sometimes they say you should show hard numbers, but me, I like showing percentages. So you don't look too small. Then show clearly what's been achieved versus what you project, and then show milestones if there is no traction. Show milestones, okay? But don't exaggerate, don't lie. If they probe your traction, make sure you can defend it. What do you mean by 100% month on month? You say, yeah, I had 6 clients and now I have 12. They will agree with you that it's 100% month on month, but they want bigger numbers. So this is someone showing traction. They're showing off, but it's a great way to show it. That look, we've got 8,000 listings. We have 5,000 daily sessions. So you might be saying we've got 3,000 people that have registered for our telemedicine, and we engage 500 of them daily. They'll be like, oh wow, that's a good conversion rate. How can we then grow our 500 to increase to at least 2,000 daily? So you are showing them you have something, and then this is the utilization level, and so and so. So these are the kind of things that they want to see. And if you can show numbers, all the better. This is another way of showing traction. A month-on-month growth thing. So this MOM means month-on-month. In fact, you already have 180 paying customers. So what you want to deliver by the end of year one is 5,000 paying customers. So this is what we have now. By the time we are together, and then show them the business model with how money will come. We will charge 5 naira per user. 5 naira therefore needs 1 million users per month. With 5 naira, we understand that we can get 2 million, but we are cutting it low. We are being pessimistic in our estimate. We think that even if we get 2 million, that's not what we're projecting. We believe that just half of them, that's 1 million. 5 naira times 1 million, that's 5 million revenue per month. Over a year, we'll be making. Are we together? That is how you show them the unit economics. Are we together? So how do you make money? And what is the revenue model? Are people going to subscribe? Or it is that you will start with freemiums. That is, you give them free access to the doctors, maybe for 3 months. Then they now start charging. For many of us that subscribe to this thing, I subscribe to Medium. Medium says, put in your card details. Well, we'll give you 1 month free. You can cancel it if you like. Who can cancel when you get used for a whole month of reading articles for free, for free? By the time it's 1 month paid, you don't even feel it. They just remove their money since you didn't cancel. So those are some of the methods or models for getting your money. And these are all factors that you consider. Please explain the primary source of revenue in detail. Say that people are going to pay upfront, or people will pay monthly, or people will pay once in lifetime. Something. Explain the primary source, but don't show multiple sources with vague ideas. Don't. Because you just say we'll generate 60 million in the first year. How? You don't know how many will subscribe. You don't know. Sometimes half of our client base will be on subscription, half will be working that will just use it once. So those are things showing that you know how that 60 million will come from. This is another example. They showed that SMEs 2 to 0.9 of the amount per month will come from 0.3% of the amount per month will come from investors. Ultimately, 2.5% of the amount will be through funding. So they are showing how their business model will work. Someone will talk about units. I'll give you the slides. I'll give you the slides after this. So you show this kind of things, and it helps them to know, okay, we'll be making 50,000 minimum, but it costs us 3,000 to acquire customers, and therefore so and so. Those are the kind of things that investors are looking for. And who is on your team? Just show who they are. You might say, oh, this one had worked in public sector, this one had worked in private sector, this one is coming with a tech background, and this one is coming with a legal background. Together, they can see a rounded team. And then, when we bring money in, it is a finance person that you're going to require. And this is a clear way that some people have used. You can see they use logos to make it very attractive. And they said we have a few other team members. Please at the end, ask. I want to make sure you can hear me. Please unmute yourself if you can. I want you to tell me at the end, ask. Did you hear?
Yes.
Please repeat after me.
Loud
At
and
the
clear.
end,
At the end,
ask.
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 At the end,
At
ask.
the end, ask.
Because you wasted my time. If all of this was just for my information, I could have and you could have put FYI at the beginning, and I know it's but if it is really for action, it is FYA. And what is the action that you need from me? How much do you need? What are funds for? How long your runway will be? This money, will it last you for 13 months or it will last you for 18 months? They typically want to you have about 18 months runway. Then what terms? If we give you 5 million naira, what will you be giving us? You say, I'm going to give you 15% of my business. You say, 50% is too small, give us 30%. That's when bargaining comes. And who else has given you money? If you've got some money from someone else, please mention it because it shows them that, oh, somebody else believed in this thing and it's not just brother and self. So it's helpful. So please know your numbers. I went for a pitch once and I didn't know my numbers. I was quite embarrassed because they were asking me, okay, what was your sales last year? I said, what was the actual profit? I didn't know it. What was the volume of clients? I didn't know it. But God being so good, He gave me another chance and it led eventually to a good thing. Please know your numbers, okay? Be realistic, and you might say, oh, I'm doing 15 million already per annum, but my competitors are doing 30, 35. So I know that if I put in the right things into this business, I'll be doing 35, 40 in their region. So it gives them a sense of calmness that, okay, so there's precedence to this thing. And if we back this one, it will be good. And most times, they want to back. It's not so much as the business, because if you fail, they know they've still invested in you, or you might pivot, they're still invested in you, and ultimately there will be success in it. So please don't just ask for the sake of asking. Someone says, if you want money, ask for advice. I don't know if this is correct, but that sort of opinion about this thing. So this is an example of someone, making an ask. We're looking for $400,000 to cover for 12 months of our operations. What are we going to do with it? We'll invest in new features. We're going to grow our user base, and some of it will go into our operational costs. Boom, 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 complete. That's all. And you showed it here in a picture. You might say here, we're raising $1.5 million. It's going to do one, it's going to do two, and 30% of this has already been committed by existing investors. So this is it already, blah, blah, blah. These are examples. If you have something else to add, please add it. You might say, oh, our competition is already, in town and they've raised 50 million, but we are only looking for 30 million or something. You might say, oh, we already have signed a patent, or you might say we have intellectual property that we've registered, we've trademarked, or you might say, oh, I actually happen to have hired the only Nigerian blockchain expert. He's working for me. Something that will give you that edge that nobody else has, and that is how pitch. And please stand there and ask for questions. So this is another way of putting your pitch forward. You might talk about your target, your revenue, the problem, let it be prominent, your core, who you are, and some key development. This is another type of pitch to another audience, and it's just one slide, so that you can finish your story in that manner. I'm happy to take some questions. I hope this has been useful to you.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. I guess we have just gone through a business class, more or less. I want to, I want to believe that those who are here have learned a thing or two. Okay, I can see the pharmacist Tosin is trying to clap.
Yeah, pharmacist Tosin has even helped me to find the SOM, the serviceable obtainable market. Not just big market. The one big one is a big name, but the one that you can service, that you can reach, that we know realistically you can touch and feel, that's the SOM. And that's the one that you want to be clear. Permit me to quickly scan through remember I said I will show the pitch that we eventually came up with, because it's relatable to them, if you don't mind. So I just show that
That's fine.
before we go to the announcement. So this is it. We reduce this. Okay. So my medicines pitch deck. This was 2018. Please forgive me. We've moved further. This was a hook. Finding genuine medicines can be difficult. YouTube shows that show, and we put our source there. Then we said this is the problem. Problem is that pharmacies exist, but they're not talking to one another. By being in silos, visibility is an issue. If you can't see what they have, how will you buy from them? This is our solution. We will then curate and so on. So we'll search, we'll attach, we'll add, we'll receive, do the last one. So this was what we were doing. We were breaking the silos and increasing visibility. And based on that, this is how it works. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. Are we together? And this is the market. It's a huge market, but our own potential market then our serviceable, addressable, or market, the touchable one. This is it. And we'll get it by year 2022. So the number we were saying was not the number we will get that. We said that by year 2022, these numbers will be doing. And what was our traction? Already we were having sales. 1 in 5 of our orders were from diaspora. We were doing deliveries, 2 to 4 hours delivery. How many customers? We already have 500 customers. This is where we're going to be. Month-on-month revenue was growing. So order fulfillment. So of all the questions, orders requests that we had, we fulfilled 93%. So this is just traction. And we said that, and we showed a unique thing that our own, we have repeat customers. So it's a sweet spot. Because in e-commerce, you hardly have repeat customers. What's our model? Currently, we make money from commission. In future, this is how we plan to make money. And what's our team? We showed our team and some of our experiences so far, blah, blah, blah. And this is our ask. And we made it so simple. And that was the pitch.
Oh, fantastic.
And it was done within three minutes. And I said that this our added knowledge. Unlike others, we are the aggregator in the pharmacy. Anyway, so just something that helps to end on it. All right.
Yes.
That's
oh, fantastic. Okay, so I guess maybe we can take a few questions from anyone. If anybody has any questions before we now go to evaluation of the reports, because we plan for you to still, yourself and Pharmacist Tosin, to still talk briefly about what you saw in the challenge, the work of the different teams, just to give a brief overview. But if anybody has any questions from the audience, if you have any questions, I believe you can ask. I think they are going to type it in. Tosin, can you unmute yourself? Okay.
Yeah, I think if you have questions, you can put it in the Q&A box.
Okay.
Very simply, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe as they're doing that, maybe you will start with your own evaluation of what was done. Mamo, do you have anything that you want to show? Then Pharmacist Abimbola will also talk about it briefly. Is there anything you're going to show? Sorry?
Nothing from this end, no.
Okay, so, I think, Tosin, you can just talk a bit about what you realized with what was done with the challenge on the meetup.
Okay. So, hi everyone. It's my pleasure to be here. So, just to give a little feedback, I know, having heard the session by Pharmacist Abimbola, I mean, there's no one that will be confused about how, the structures should have been. So, one of the things I did when I the pitch that was submitted was I first read through all, trying to make sense of the direction and the pattern of thoughts around how to the things ideated around first and foremost how they identified the problems and then how they went about addressing solutions. Did they match the problems that were identified? If they matched the problems that were identified, now look at.
Hold on. Can I say what the topic, what the challenge was all about so that people will understand? So the challenge was preparing healthcare systems for the new normal. What should be done and how? That was the challenge given to the groups on the Meetup 5.0. Preparing healthcare systems for the new normal. What should be done and how? So you can go ahead.
Okay, so one of the things that was uppermost for me in my mind was a first thought about the Nigerian healthcare system, and if I was going to be addressing COVID in that particular health system. My ideas won't be add-ons. They'll be more addressed at the entire structure, because the system as it is right now is faulty, and whatever you build on that, you would only either moderate the failures within the system, or you would expand the failures that are currently intrinsic with this system. So the ideas should be things that look differently at the system and try to build something that either brings in efficiency, or it's a system where we're not thinking about efficiency, we're just thinking about making sure it works. And later down the line, we begin to think about efficiency. So I looked at how people identify problems and how they match solutions to them. Was it sufficient? Was it a narrow scope, or was it broad? If it was a narrow scope, did you also take into cognizance the policies around, narrow scope? Did you just look at, I want to do this, I want to do this and this, without considering that there's a policy environment, there's a stakeholder management that happens within the wider scope of, the startup life? So I looked at that, and then for me, it was neither here nor there. DG Health, for example, was a bit narrow along, just the confines of telemedicine. Tried to address issues related to service provision, but then the issue with Nigeria is not just service provision. You forgot to address the issues about payment. You see, a large number of Nigerians cannot even pay for their healthcare service. So it's not just the availability of the service that's a problem. Nigerians cannot also pay for their healthcare service. I mean, one of the proposals identified that health financing, and I thought that was really great. I think that was Group D's proposal. They identified, wide variables across board, also proposed likely solutions, but didn't particularly take it anywhere. So they left them as high-fallacy thoughts without condensing them into actionable points. In terms of creativity and innovation, I felt like, that's my opinion though, I felt like most of the things people harped on were things that were already being done in the market. I mean, they're very notable examples. For example, there's mymedicines.com that's operating telepharmacy services. There's Doctora Health that's trying to take medicine and diagnostics, and aggregate them onto the web. There's also a solution founded by pharmacists. In fact, they founded this solution coming out from pharmacy school, myclinic.ng. I'm sure we're aware of it, right? myclinic.ng.
I haven't heard of it.
We're partnering with them.
Oh, you know them. Oh, okay. I haven't heard of it. Oh, I'll check them out.
They pitched with the Vice President's initiative and a few other people. They're very smart kids. Yeah, very smart guys. So I didn't seem to think that there was so much that was different. So I wanted to look at, sometimes you want to peer under the hood to see that, okay, there's something they're doing differently that's, that's different from what other people were doing. But that didn't seem to come across in any of the presentations that I looked at. And then I felt like it wasn't also, it wasn't smart in a way. For example, we didn't have specific timelines talked about. We didn't have measurable objectives that we're looking at. We didn't have any, achievable targets that had been set. In terms of realistic, because they have not even begun to set those targets. We couldn't even measure realistic thoughts around that. In terms of the presentation, the presentation now, a lot of these slides were wordy. There were a lot of text parts in the slides. Sometimes you shouldn't have more than 6 lines of text within a page of a slide. Then you should have more. I think we all saw the presentation that Pharmacist Adebakin shared. I mean, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's an example that we can all key into. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe those of them who are available, because most young pharmacists are always at work, but thank God this is being recorded, so that at least they can watch it over again. Because we always have a problem being able to join in webinars within this time. But so sometimes on the meetup we have to go like 9 o'clock, and then we're struggling to make sure they don't sleep off either. But we just need to keep at it anyway. So, you can just give us in a nutshell. I know you've already said a bit about it in your presentation. Just tell us, at least just summarize what you thought too.
Okay, so I mean, regarding the content, I align with a lot of what Susan has said, and I had to then, look away from incomplete content to just look at how is it even presented. And I like telling me, they went an extra effort, that's group E rather, to put something more presentable forward. I think their slides were quite good. Creativity of the videos that I watched that you showed me, I thought they needed a lot more work, but the one I scored the highest had text, and it helped us to follow the message, and the imagery was very clear. There was one that was using, a conversion of text to audio that I didn't quite think had user appeal, but you can always get better. In terms of practicality, I think that many people left the ideas hanging, and so didn't take further. But it's a first step. So it's a first step, and you can move forward with that. And yeah, presentation could have been much better. If maybe a template had been shared, it might have also helped them with presentation so that they will follow a certain logic. But I know that this is the first step towards you putting together a proposal, and that template that we've used now to debrief will be helpful in your future presentations. But all in all, look, at this stage, you are proposing, you are putting your ideas into something that someone will scrutinize and critique. You have stepped forward. I think you can only keep stepping forward. You can only keep stepping forward. I told you my first pitch was this Seedstars one. And we're fortunate that we won something. And that something was first runner up. But it gave me a boost. Never call it second, call it first runner up. So it gave a boost, okay? So whatever you emerge here, you can only be fifth runner up. Say yes, we are fifth runner up. And it's a boost.
Okay, maybe that's how I'm going to make the announcement.
Please, that's the way. Fifth runner up because
Okay, thank you so much. Anyway, for those joining in, we're also reviewing the challenge of the Meetup 5.0 using, of course, Innovate Pharmacy platform. We really want to thank Pharmacist Tosin for helping us with this. So if you want to see the videos, you can go to @meetingpoint.ng on Instagram. You will see the videos there so that you will have a better idea of what went on in the past few days. I don't know if we have any questions. Do we have any questions? I think there's a question.
Yes, there's a question.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my.
This question. This is long.
I think Francis Adebakin, you can see the question, right?
Yes, I've almost finished reading. I'm on number 4. So the person had actually commented that he's glad that he missed the Chelsea versus Bayern match. He's converting this opportunity. Let me attempt.
Oh, fantastic.
To answer. You say your question is about CAC and name registration. At what point should this be done? Immediately after ideation, or after implementation, or after your first marketing? Whenever you have a business idea, if you want to take it far, try and register a business name. If it starts with an enterprise, go ahead and do that if that's what you can afford. Or if you want to register a limited liability company, go ahead. In fact, yesterday there were some new adjustments to CAMA that allows
Yeah.
just one person to register a company. So I advise people, you've got an idea that you're going to go into business, just go and register the company and keep it down. Register it as soon as you can, open a bank account and have something handy. You might even use it for just hustling opportunities. That come and supply something, and you use that company and you put your better foot forward. So that's great. So for me, I wouldn't delay in registering a company at CAC. In fact, there's a gift that we want to give from Advantage Health Africa to the meeting point winners, that we will fund the registration of one company by the end of August. So that's at 20,000 naira. I've done it before when we were asked to speak at an event for physiotherapists, and the person went ahead to register their company. So if you can identify your most active or whatever criteria you want to use, that person will be given
Yeah.
funding to go ahead and register. So please don't
Excellent.
delay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank
Trademarking.
you.
When should a product be trademarked? As soon as you have developed the product. If you have a prototype, take it to go and trademark it. If it's a logo, you can go and trademark it. If it's a model that you think that this model is so unique, you can go and trademark it. Once you have something, for example, in 2010, I trademarked our logo, the logo for Advantage Health, and they told me they couldn't register Advantage. So I did Advantage and I put that triangle in front. So every time people look at it, they see Advantage, but it's actually Advantage. This triangle is what tells you're laughing at me. I just do, once you tell me there's no way there, I find another way. I
Find
keep
another way.
Exactly. Exactly.
so this is trademarked, and it was trademarked. So then I had just Advantage Health. But when I came back in 2017 to address the issues, my eyes had seen a bigger view on it. So it's Advantage Health Africa. So it is really, that is already trademarked. So please trademark what you want to trademark. It's not everything that will be permissible.
Mm.
We are better off seeking to trademark and then they say, no, this one cannot be trademarked.
Okay.
Telling me about an ointment that someone was selling for almost 30 years in Nigeria. And a young man went and trademarked that ointment. And the person who had the market could no longer sell that product. He had not trademarked it for 30 years here in Nigeria. So NAFDAC was advising us to get our trademarks done early before we introduce the product into the market. Some other person will see it and like it, and then we've lost the name. So it's certainly important that you do it early. You've asked the question, assuming you are working on 3 different ideas with different names, how do you go about the registration? The ideas are not what you register, it's the company that you actually register. So you have one company that is then churning out multiple ventures or multiple ideas. If you can register one company that can cover several things in your articles of association, then you're blessed. If, however, your articles of association does not permit you to use the same company for multiple things, then you need to register 2 things. So, for example, mymedicines.com is not a pharmaceutical company. It's actually a tech company. So we had to register it as a tech company. And then when we register my pharmacy, that one is a pharmaceutical company. So we have those 2 entities, but they're all under one umbrella. And so you might want to do that. So someone said, you said again that let's say my company is Treat. So you register Treat at CAC. And you say you have 3 products, ABC, DEF, and GIC. How do I go about the registration? So you register Treat as a limited liability company at CAC, but you then develop your products all owned by Treat. And when you now want to go and trademark them, they will tell you who owns this trademark. It is Treat that owns it, because Treat has now become a legal entity that can sue and can be sued. So what type of registration is needed for Treat and what type is needed for the product? So Treat needs a limited liability company registration, while the products are simply trademarks. There are different company types, so PLC, LLC, etc. So what we go for is the limited liability company, the LTD. Which would you recommend for a health startup that will minimize taxation and allow high profit? I like the way your head is thinking, but think more of which one gives you most flexibility. As an enterprise, you pay less tax, but you might not be able to do some large ticket and things. And in investment, you can't bring investors to invest in an enterprise, but you can bring investors to invest in your shares of a limited liability company. So think beyond just taxation and tax avoidance and or tax minimization. Think also of what gives you flexibility and what can help you to thrive. You might end up registering 2 or 3 other companies later on, but what you are starting with, let it be as flexible as possible. And you might find out all those things that you want to pay might not amount to much when you are making bigger revenues. I hope that helps. You can also always get a company registration lawyer when you want to go further.
Excellent. I think I think that's all.
Yeah.
Is there any other question?
None that I can see here.
Okay, I think we've exhausted that.
Let me just put, let me kind of push this question out. So,
Okay.
so some of the questions that came out, a lot of it, or rather, some of the ways the participants talked about their solutions, a lot of it was broad and a bit non-specific. So if you were looking at solving these problems, I want to direct this question at Pharmacist Adebakin and Pharmacist Olaoluwa. From your experience, I know you've done a lot of, not a bit at this point, a lot of ideation, looking at problems, generating solutions, and then doing a lot of literature search to, so what are your processes from looking at problems, that catch your fancy to generating solutions even before you create your pitch?
Yeah.
Okay, for me, when I saw the theme for the meeting or the presentation, talking about the new normal, the first question is, what are the realities of the new normal? Yeah, what did they present? We don't just, personally, actually, I don't like throwing buzzwords up and down. Now you see it on here, somebody says new normal. But then for pharmacy in Nigeria, we want to be specific. What does the new normal portend? Then, okay, what are the challenges or what are the major pain points that the new normal brings about? What new challenges or what are the better ways we can serve people in the new normal? For me, I was thinking specifically for pharmacy that there are actually a lot of issues which present opportunities in the new normal. I was thinking now, people now want virtual medication therapy management and management services. They still want quality medications. They still want quality drug information. But then the new normal presents that this will happen with reduced contacts. And I think that's what my medicine is doing to an extent. And maybe some other people can still come up with specific ones, especially involving drug information. I was thinking that was actually a very good opportunity. Then talking about robust infrastructure for drug delivery. Yeah, especially talking about maybe something that we cold chain or vaccines and all that. Those are the things. Those for me, that's where I'll have started thinking from, like, okay, what is a new normal and what are the challenges that the new normal brings about? Then also talking about regulatory issues. Talking about this whole new normal or this COVID-19 thing, there have been a lot of regulatory issues coming up. we don't even want to start from the aspect of maybe drug discovery or hydroxychloroquine and dexamethasone at some point. But then even basic quality issues like hand sanitizers that some pharmacists were producing, or a lot that were actually adulterated. Is there any way looking forward that we can actually speed up regulatory issues, even in the midst of a pandemic or when it seems like we are pressed for time and all that? Then also looking at scaling up pharmacists to cope with some of these new challenges. Or let me say for areas that don't have enough pharmacists and all that, what can we do to scale up people that can actually play such roles like patent, medicine, vendors, and all that? So for me, if I was going to address this, I was actually going to be like demystify the concept of the new normal. Like, what does this really mean for pharmacists, especially in our context? Is actually also very important. Then, okay, after doing that, then we can go ahead to say, okay, which aspect of this problem do I really want to solve? There are actually a lot of problems. I actually just listed a few of them. If we keep thinking, we keep just bringing up so many things that I feel like pharmacists can do to make themselves relevant at times like this. So then I'll just go for okay, which of these aspects do I really want to focus on? For me, I think drug information is actually important to patients, to other clinicians and all that. So many questions. How can we make this easier for them? How can we make it accessible and all that? So for me, I think the major issue is demystifying any concept that looks bogus, like Mrs. Adebakin said, and also bringing it down to specific numbers. I'll actually, something she said actually really made more sense to me. I've been telling my friends lately, like when you attend a pitch and somebody says, okay, Nigeria is the largest country in Africa, we have a market of 180 million. I'm always like, just let I'm happy to actually, I'm happy to actually address that because most times people say, oh, we have a market of 180 million. And I'm like, okay, what percentage of this market can
They're not
even
going
pay
to reach
for?
the 180.
What percentage can even pay? Actually, because recently my work has involved traveling a lot. Yeah, I was telling somebody this year I've touched down in more than 8 states in Nigeria. And sincerely, if we talk about 180 million people, none of people that can actually afford health services can, the percentage will be less than. I don't want to give a number to it, but then the percentage is very minute, very minute. So if you are giving a pitch or want to attack a problem, it should actually, like you said, the SAM and TAM is actually just very, very, very ideal, very succinct and straight to the point. Yeah, so I may not have been able to do anything again. So I want to really appreciate her for this opportunity. I actually learned a lot. My journal is full. I'm following it from afar. I'm following it from afar. And this is actually a very good opportunity to actually come close and actually learn. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay, for me, I don't have one straight route. It's usually a ton of thinking and thinking through the problem and trying to find benchmarks or similar problems elsewhere. So it could be from just you having sleepless nights and just, putting your head in to just start something, So it could also be that someone actually brought the solution to you and you saw that will work, but I need to amend it like this and amend it like that for it to be a real solution. It could be something you see in another sector. For me, I saw that the food industry or the restaurants were already delivering food. If you can deliver food that the dispatch rider can open and spit and bring to your office. No, that was how it occurred to me. That was how it occurred to me. That food that they can open, spit, and still bring to your office, and you are buying it. You will buy medicine. That was all that I needed. So when people say, did you do an MVP? Did you do, test the pilot? I said, what am I piloting? People are ordering food and bringing it from where they don't know to the office. Then they can order medicines online. And that was enough. It was from there that I then started searching for another online pharmacy. I discovered one mega something. But I realized that they had one branch in Ibadan. I'm sorry, one branch in Abuja and one branch in Lagos. I said, no, this cannot meet the need. You need to be able to pick up from the nearest location and deliver. Therefore, I went with the aggregated model. So our model does not quite exist, but we had to create it. So it is from, one bit that you are doing, one bit you are doing, one bit until it adds up. And who says that, that one that you even launch is what you will end up with? No, we've had to do more things. We saw the need to be able to read people's inventory. We're developing technology now to address that. So we keep at it. So you might find one problem in a finite way, and I think that's how God operates with us. He doesn't show you the whole problem or the whole thing. Otherwise, you run away and you quickly go and cover your head somewhere. So he shows it to you little to entice you, bring you out of your shell. Then he'll keep expanding it, and that's what I think has been our own story. With everything we do,
Excellent.
keep seeing it small, then it keeps getting bigger, and so you keep working with the team to make sure they don't run away.
Amazing. Thank you. All right.
Excellent. 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 Oh, fantastic. Okay, I think we're almost done, right? Tosi?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can go ahead to read the results. I guess.
Full steam ahead.
Okay, so we had about 4 judges, like I said. Everybody had their preference, but we took the Advantage Health model of aggregation. Yeah, so we had to add everything together. This had to do with content, creativity, presentation. We also looked at their social media engagement as well.
Oh.
And then, so we had like a chart to show. Some had more likes, some had more comments, because that was also supposed to be like bonus marks for them to be able to move up, as well as we looked at teamwork and, of course, submitting on time, because some of them still tried my patience and decided to submit after the deadline. So they lost marks on that, even though they had good content. So because I had to give preference to those who were on time. Yes. So it was a bonus for them. So I would say from the rare, I don't know how this team.
The fifth runner up now.
Fifth runner up, madam.
Fifth runner up. Okay, the fifth runner up seemed to be okay. There was a tie between team D and team C. I hope I got this my addition correct. Anyway, okay, or maybe I did the wrong thing. All right, so fifth runner up, we have team D as the fifth runner up from behind. They didn't even have a video. Unfortunately, they couldn't get a video, but they still tried their best. Then fourth runner up, team C. Okay. Then the third runner-up, Team F, and then the second runner-up was Team E, the telemedicine people. Yes, and then the first runner-up. In fact, the first runner-up and the winner of this competition, the only difference was 0.1. They were very close.
Wow.
It was just by 0.1. So the first runner-up is Team A. That's the Digi Health, the Digel. While Team B,
can you repeat it? Fifth runner-up, Team D.
Team
Fourth
G.
runner-up, Team C.
Team C.
Third runner-up,
Team F.
Team F.
Yes.
Second runner-up,
Team E.
Team B for Bimbo. Okay.
Team E. E.
Oh,
that's
Team
E for egg. Yes. The difference between E and F was also 0.1.
That was so close.
That was very close. Yeah. So Team A is the first runner-up, while the winner of the challenge for the Meetup Accelerate edition is Team B, Team Genius. So they were that had the animation and the voiceover. So they
Congratulations to them.
Yeah, congratulations to them. Oh, thank you very much. So the winner is Team B. I know some of them are at work, but okay. The most valued team member.
If the team members are online, you can raise your hands in the using the chat feature. Let's see.
So of course, the most valued team member for Team B happens to be here.
Interesting.
Yes, and it's her team that won.
Oh, Chinemere.
And fortunately, it is also her birthday.
Oh. So
Chinemere,
yes. Yourself.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm so happy.
We need to see your video. We need to see
so I'm promoting her to a panelist. She's going to rejoin now, and then we can see her video.
Hello? Oh my God.
Hey! So you can share your video now.
And share your video, so let's see your
If
video.
it is social.
Not in a mess. I hope your hair is not in a mess.
Give me some minutes. Yeah, okay.
Congratulations to your team.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, we can't see your face.
It's getting decent for us.
Yeah.
Wow, so that's awesome.
Days of not sleeping, and I think the project coordinator is also here. That is Onye. She was the one that put it all together. We've been going back and forth. We are.
So Chinemere is here.
Yeah. Chinemere, yes, you can see her now.
What did you hear from her? Don't say someone. Very short, right? Very short. Yes. Don't say someone.
Okay. I'm very happy that we won because we put a lot of effort and it was a lot happened, especially towards the ending with the video, getting it to work, and so it was really lovely that we won eventually. And we really thought about the project and then everything. I'm just very happy. And it's the first time I'm actually fourth time here. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Congratulations.
Serial attendee at the meetup, and I think it has helped her to stretch and learn some skills. she's
amazing.
Right. Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. Okay. Okay. We also have he's another team member. He's also here. Okay. Good. All right. At least Chinemere has spoken on behalf of all of you.
Yeah.
And I really need to appreciate the strategy team, especially the project coordinator.
Is she here?
Onye, I know she was here. She put it all together. I stressed the life out of her.
I think I see Onye.
We both stressed ourselves. Finally, at least, we're happy we pulled it off.
Onye.
Yeah.
Are you good to go?
Oh, good.
Okay, so you can share video now and say hi to everyone.
Hi everyone. Actually, I cannot share video now.
Oh, okay, no problem. Great work you put in. I want to say congratulations to you and to Mrs. Funto for the effort put in coordinating all of this. It was amazing. Thank you for all you're doing, for investing into everyone who participated. And I'm sure the rewards will come in soon.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for putting this together. Thank you. It's deeply
Ideation.
appreciated. Thank you.
Abimbola needs to leave, but I want to
Yeah.
thank her very much for
Perfect.
everything, for just being with us, and of course the gift. We will get across to you the specific person that will get this gift. Of course, the most active person on the group, and I'm sure everybody knows who that person is. So we'll get to you so that that person will be credited at the end of the month. I want to thank you so much for your support. I want to thank Mrs. Tosin for also being there. Everyone, in fact. It's been a long road. So she needs to leave. I think she has another meeting, and we will be rounding up now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll just let her take her leave while we just round up this meeting.
Thanks
Thank you
so
very
much
much.
again, man.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I've also sent the slides to you via WhatsApp. So,
Oh, great. Thank you.
All right,
yeah.
fantastic.
All
Thank
right,
you.
great. Have a good night. Congrats to the
It's,
team.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we can round up. I believe Mrs. Tosin, you can.
okay, so that's actually Mamo.
Okay, Mamo. Yes, Mamo is our coordinator. I hope he's still here.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Okay, so Mamo is
So,
also one of has been in the strategy team right from inception, right from Meetup 1.0. We have other team members, but some of them I think are at work. We have Olayemi Olosunde. We have Chinedu Onka. I hope I got his surname right. Before I go and murder his name, I
Onka.
can come and do it. Okay, we have former Basi, who is now Asian, and we also have Shakira Bashir. She's also she has been a founding Meetup member. I used to call her my PA, my driver, my photographer, my everything. She's there with me. These are young pharmacists. Some of them have worked with me in psychiatric hospital. I must tell you that some of these things started from my little office there, which is my store, where I started, mentoring and just helping young people to discover themselves and just push a little further. There are quite a number out there. It's a passion that I had. It's something I have been doing for years. It's something that just keeps me awake. It's something that sometimes I'm wondering, why am I doing this? But I believe that God has put it upon my heart to just make myself available for young people. The other things we do, we don't talk only about career, we talk about relationship. There are other things, my ears are usually open. If there's anything that is bothering you, there are some that I have never met, and it's just over the phone or maybe just their LinkedIn, and they've shared their issues with me. So that is what I do, and that is what we are all about. So because of the COVID situation, we've not been able to have our physical meeting, but I'm sure very soon we will have that. And our guests are Pharmacist Ladi Odukoya, and we have the HR expert, who is Benga Totoi. So hopefully we should have that for those who have registered. So if you are not part of that, don't worry. Next year, when we do Meetup 6.0, we'll make it a lot larger and more open for people to be part of it. So thank you very much for those who joined in on this platform. And I must sincerely thank Pharmacist Tosin Adeyemi for giving us this platform. We badged in. But
next week, I think, Mamo, we have it fixed, right? Next week we're having doctoral health. We're having Debo Gilano on this. Yes, next week. So this will be a wonderful time again. So Mamo, can we take it away?
Yeah, that will be all for today. Thanks for joining in from all over the world. Wherever you're joining from. Yeah. For that person that missed Chelsea, for the person that missed Chelsea match, he didn't miss too much.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much. Yeah. See you next week. Yeah.
What have heard people talking about universal health coverage, but what does it really mean? Think about it this way. What do you need to get, be, and stay healthy? Can you get help from a well-trained health worker? Can you get treatment that helps you get better and is safe? Can you get the medicines and other health products you need? Who will pay for it? Are there policies in place to ensure the services you need are available to you, your family, and your community next time and every time? And does your government have accurate information about the whole system so they can make the right decisions to keep everything working the way it should? Good health needs people, services, products, finances, policies, and information. And it needs all of them to work together, even in times of crisis. And good health systems don't just treat sick people. They help to promote healthy living and prevent people from falling ill in the first place. The World Health Organization is working around the world so that all people and communities receive the quality services they need and are protected from health threats without suffering from financial hardship. That's what we call universal health coverage. So, here's to health, for you and for everyone.
Thank you and good night. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye, everyone. Good night. Au revoir.